So one of the big things that Louisiana, Missouri is known for is Momo, which stands for Missouri Monster. So Momo is a kind of Bigfoot-like figure. It was a cryptid that was spotted in 1972, 1973. There were a bunch of sightings at that time of this creature. It's supposed to be about 7 feet tall, completely covered in hair, like had a pumpkin-shaped head and glowing orange eyes. So it was this big, tall figure, humanoid, like bipedal figure, covered in hair, so you could not see any facial features at all except for the eyes, which were glowing. And it was first seen July 11th, 1972 by a couple kids that were playing out in the yard. Their sister heard the kids screaming, looked out the window, and they all saw this creature, and it was carrying what looked to be like a bloody dead dog in its mouth. And it was also had like a very foul, putrid smell to it. Now, Momo never gained the notoriety that, let's say, Mothman did, or Bigfoot, or even the Beast of Bray Road. It's not a more well-known monster, but here in Louisiana, Missouri, there's like, it's closed today, unfortunately, a Louisiana Historical Museum for Momo, and I really would love to check it out. I don't know how well you can see in there, but there's like this little museum dedicated to Momo. And let's see. Oh, it was 1971. Let's see where it first came. So it says in July 1971, Joan Mills and Mary Ryan were returning to St. Louis on Highway 79 when they stopped for a picnic northwest of Louisiana, which is, of course, Louisiana, Missouri. They claim a huge, hairy, and half-ape, half-man came out of the woods. It had a horrible odor and made gurgling sounds. Women got away, and the incident was largely kept quiet by authorities, but additional sightings in Louisiana a year later, so this is the one with the kids, brought national attention. Even more remarkable, Momo is still the source of stories, a song, movies, television programs, and conversation today, a half-century later. So is Momo real or just a figment of the wild imagination? You can decide, but it seems that for every person who claims it was a hoax, there's at least one who believes. So if you're in the woods near Louisiana and catch an obnoxious whiff, hear weird noises or howls, and see bright red eyes, it might be a good idea to hightail it. So the museum is open on Saturdays. It is a Sunday today, so I can't go in and see it, but I think it's interesting that this legend persists, and I want to go to the woods and see if I can find Momo. Another fun fact about Momo as I walk through this town, there were enough sightings that at one point a group of about 20 people got together determined to hunt and kill Momo because they were terrified. So they got this kind of mob together and did not find the creature. So Momo was safe that day. They did at some point, I'm not sure if it was on that expedition or another time, find some strange footprints, and they were able to get some scientists or researchers in who determined it was from some unknown primate, which supports the idea that it could be a Bigfoot-like cryptid that was traipsing through the woods in this area. So here you can see Louisiana is actually on the Mississippi River. And a lot of the buildings, there's a lot of historical buildings here from like the 1860s, 1880s. It seems like that's when the town was developed. Really. Slow down, Zena. So I'm here at the Mississippi River, and in 1972, when Momo was sighted in that July, that famous sighting by the kids, It was actually reported seen frequently in those few weeks. And a lot of the sightings were in and around Louisiana, so a lot of the woods surrounding Louisiana, but there were, in those few weeks at least, if not a few months, sightings that happened up and down the Mississippi River in this area. So this whole area could be considered Momo territory. So here we are around the woods of...
I gotta take care of this.
So I'm here in the woods outside of Louisiana, Missouri, looking for Momo. It's a really hot day. It's like 95 degrees, so I don't want to walk through too much. I really don't like ticks or mosquitoes that much, although I love the woods and camping. But we're gonna see if we can find Momo. I don't think there's been any significant sightings since the 1970s, so it's been a long time, but you never know what could lurk in the woods. Now people are saying, is this actually Bigfoot? Well, there's a few differences that distinguish Momo from Bigfoot. For one, Momo is completely covered in hair. You cannot see any facial features besides the eyes. And Bigfoot more has a primate look to it, or an ape-like look to it. And the other thing is that Momo has glowing red or orange eyes, similar to, it's making me think of Mothman, to be honest. So if you think about Mothman had the glowing eyes, you know, and the wings and stuff, so it's clearly a different creature than Mothman, but it's distinguished a bit from what Bigfoot would look like, or has been described as looking. Also, and I'm sure Bigfoot doesn't smell great, but Momo, it was noted for a very distinctive foul odor. So as we're driving through this woods and area, I'm listening for any noises that aren't the car, trees cracking, any sign of something having run through the woods, and also I am trying to pick up any smell I can find. So if there is a very strong smell, then that's something that we would want to get out and investigate a little bit more. That does look like a little habitat in there, to be honest. A lot of these things look like it could easily house some kind of cryptid, and no one would ever know, because these are some very dense, overgrown woods. Like, it would be really difficult to get through there and to investigate anything and have any kind of visibility, which it makes it even more likely that there was some creature living here in the woods that was maybe spotted for a while and could still be here. Who knows? Momo! 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 See, I don't know. Like, it probably doesn't even know its name is Momo, so I don't think calling that would help. But, and you know what? To be honest, yelling would probably scare it away anyway. So, I think I would need like a dead dog to lure it, but I'm not really about carrying dead dogs with me, so that part makes me really sad. And I was trying to find the exact location where the kids reported first seeing Momo. I couldn't find anything specific besides like the whole area surrounding Louisiana, Missouri. So the whole town is basically surrounded by a lot of woods like this. And that seemed to be the consensus, is that it was seen all over the place, like spotted a lot. But so far, no sign of Momo. So I guess I'm going to continue my road trip and see what other interesting things I can find today.